She almost didn't walk down that aisle, and no, it wasn't cold feet. It was the kind of silence that hits when you realize the man you fought to bring to America might still be hiding pieces of his life back in Ecuador. When Ashley first introduced Manuel on 90 Day Fiancé, TLC framed it like destiny reconnected. High school crush. Lost touch. Reunited years later. The spiritual American woman and the reserved Ecuadorian father ready to start fresh in the U.S. It looked poetic. But here's the part TLC cameras didn't show, that reunion wasn't just romantic. It was loaded. Manuel didn't just come with a suitcase. He came with children, financial responsibilities, and emotional baggage that Ashley was only partially prepared for.
I know what you're thinking, plenty of cast members have kids back home. That's not unusual in the 90-day universe. But listen to this. According to fans dissecting timelines on Reddit, Manuel and Ashley had barely reconnected before filing that K1 visa paperwork. We're talking fast. Faster than most people move in this franchise. And if you've watched enough seasons, you already know, when it moves that fast, something usually cracks. Ashley believed in signs, tarot cards, energy shifts. She talked about divine timing. Manuel, he talked about money, stability, sending support back to Ecuador. Those two conversations were never on the same frequency. And this is where the 90-day dream quietly fell apart, not in screaming matches, but in translation. On camera, Manuel often looked emotionally distant, calm, almost detached. TLC edited it as cultural difference. But fans on X weren't buying that explanation. Threads exploded with theories. Was he overwhelmed? Was he calculating? Was he simply uncomfortable with how public everything was becoming? And then came the money conversations. Ashley admitted she was carrying the financial weight while waiting for Manuel's work authorization. That's standard with a K1 visa. The American partner sponsors, signs the affidavit of support, promises financial responsibility. But what hit differently here was the pressure. Manuel wasn't just adjusting to life in a new country. He was worried about sending money home immediately. But here's what production glossed over. Manuel didn't want Ashley directly involved in sending money to his children's mother. That detail sent the 90-day subreddit into chaos. Why keep her at arm's length if everything was transparent? Was it pride, control, or something else? Ashley took it personally, and honestly, who wouldn't? She was the petitioner, the sponsor, the one navigating immigration lawyers, paperwork, medical exams, embassy interviews, all while planning a wedding inside a 90-day countdown clock that never stops ticking. That clock is brutal. 90 days sounds long. It's not. Especially when you're learning your partner's real habits for the first time. Especially when you're realizing love across borders feels different inside a shared apartment. Around this point, fans started noticing something subtle. Ashley's tone shifted, less dreamy, more defensive. She wasn't just fighting for love anymore, she was fighting for validation. Fighting to prove she didn't make a mistake. And this is where I need you to lean in for a second. If you're someone who watches 90 Day Fiancé not just for the drama but for the truth underneath it, hit subscribe and stick around. Because what you're about to hear, it changes how you see their wedding day completely. Now let's talk about Manuel's side. Leaving Ecuador isn't just a plane ticket. It's identity. It's fatherhood from a distance. It's being judged in a language that isn't yours. On Instagram Live, Manuel hinted at feeling misunderstood, that editing didn't capture the pressure he felt to provide. That detail barely made it to air. But here's the part TLC never unpacked, the power imbalance of the K1 process. The American partner holds the legal power. The immigrant partner holds the risk. If things fall apart before marriage, the visa collapses. You go home. That dynamic sat quietly between them in every argument. When Ashley pushed for emotional openness, Manuel often shut down. When Manuel pushed about finances, Ashley felt used. And fans split hard. One side called him ungrateful. The other called her controlling. Then came wedding planning, the supposed happy arc. You'd think by the final episodes we'd see unity. Instead, What we saw was tension wrapped in floral arrangements. Ashley wanted a spiritually aligned ceremony, energy cleansing, intentional vows. Manuel wanted something simpler, practical. And if you rewatch closely, there's a moment, brief, almost invisible, where Manuel looks overwhelmed during a conversation about costs. That wasn't just stress. That was someone calculating survival. Because here's the hidden detail Reddit users dug up. Manuel reportedly had ongoing financial obligations that were heavier than initially disclosed. Nothing illegal, nothing scandalous, but significant. And if that's true, imagine walking into a new country already feeling behind. This is where the 90-day dream nearly cracked for good. Ashley confronted him about communication, about feeling like the last to know. Manuel accused her of overreacting. Classic 90-day standoff. But beneath it, fear. On both sides. She feared being used. He feared losing stability. And then something shifted. Slowly. Not dramatically. Not in a viral screaming scene. It was quieter than that. Manuel started engaging more in wedding details. Ashley softened in her approach to his role as a father. It wasn't perfect. It was negotiated. Social media remained divided. X threads called them doomed but trying. Instagram comments said they were misunderstood but real. And honestly, that's what made their story compelling. It wasn't explosive like some franchise couples. It was heavy. The wedding day itself looked beautiful, emotional, symbolic. Ashley glowing, Manuel visibly nervous but present. And here's what most viewers missed: he showed up fully. Not just physically, emotionally. But here's the question nobody answered: did he show up because he was ready, or because the alternative meant going back to Ecuador with nothing? I know that sounds harsh, but that's the reality of this franchise. Love is never isolated from immigration law. After the ceremony, their body language shifted again. Softer, closer, Manuel smiling more naturally, Ashley less guarded. Some fans even admitted online they'd misjudged him. Yet behind the scenes, life doesn't magically stabilize after "I do." Adjustment of status paperwork, work permits, cultural isolation, financial rebuilding. The fairy tale is followed by forms, fees, and waiting. And let's not ignore something critical: Ashley built a brand around spirituality and empowerment. Manuel stepped into a world where he didn't fully understand the rules. That takes humility, and that's not easy on reality TV. This is where things get interesting for their future. Because couples who survive the K1 tension usually do so by redefining power. If Ashley continues to lead financially and legally, will Manuel ever feel equal? If Manuel prioritizes obligations in Ecuador, will Ashley always feel secondary? Fans recently noticed something subtle on social media: fewer couple posts. More individual content. It could mean nothing, or it could mean the adjustment phase is harder than expected. And if you've followed this franchise long enough, you know this pattern. The wedding episode gives closure. Real life reopens the story. What makes Ashley and Manuel different isn't that they argued. It's that their arguments weren't loud enough to distract from the underlying imbalance. That's what makes their journey emotionally heavy. They weren't fighting over exes or scandals. They were fighting over reality. The K1 visa doesn't just test love. It tests transparency. It tests pride. It tests whether two people from different worlds can negotiate identity without losing themselves. Ashley believed in fate. Manuel believed in responsibility. Somewhere between tarot cards and money transfers, they found a compromise. But was it a permanent one? Because here's the truth most viewers don't want to say out loud: love alone doesn't fix power dynamics. Marriage doesn't erase sacrifice. So now I'll leave you with this. When the cameras shut off, when the paperwork clears, when the social media noise fades, will Ashley and Manuel still choose each other without the pressure of a ticking 90-day clock? Or was that wedding day less of a beginning, and more of a deadline they couldn't afford to miss? Drop your take below. Do you think they bridged the gap from Ecuador to forever, or are we watching the calm before the next 90-day storm?